Hello everyone, this is Jason Petrozello at Adrenaline Vault, and I wanted to take a few minutes to do some video commentary on the Argos Naval Yard expansion to Sword of the Stars. I wanted to give both new players a feel for how the tactical elements of the game are played, and give experienced players a tour of some of the new weapons to be found in the game. Now what I'm doing here while the action is paused is I'm organizing the reserve list for my fleet in the forthcoming engagement. Now for players who've never played this game before, tactical combat in Sword of the Stars does not entail every ship on each opposing fleet fighting all at once. You instead have a limited number of ships on the field at any one time, limited by the amount of command and control you have available due to command ships and technologies. So what I'm doing is organizing the list of what reserve ships will enter combat as my current ships are destroyed. I'm also updating my list so that I can get one of my specialty ships, the Hummingbird class vessel, into the action now. You'll see why in just a second. Now for this particular combat, I am showcasing two new kinds of weapon systems to be found in the expansion. The rail cannons on the new Impactor ship section and the new Polarized Plasmatics tech tree. Now the rail cannons are an extremely long-range weapon, and as you can just see, my sensor view is now revealing a larger portion of the map, because my Hummingbird class ship has special sensors that extend the range at which I can see enemy targets. And we're going to need that because my rail cannons have a really long range. I want to be able to inflict damage as far away as possible, because the enemy, in this case the Lear, have a couple of dreadnoughts with cruisers escorting them, and I'm only using cruisers to defeat them. Now, experienced players may think this might be a losing strategy, but in this particular game I have access to some very good shield technology and extra upgrades for shields, like shield magnifiers and quantum capacitors. Now, since shields can't be mounted on dreadnoughts, I'm going to take advantage of this situation and make really nice cruisers that should be able to pound dreadnoughts into dust, which is what I'm doing right now. As you can notice, I'm using my rail cannons to attack that really big ship that's surrounded by the red circle. And I've just destroyed an enemy dreadnought before it can even get into range to attack my cruisers. Now, the Lear escort cruisers are now getting into range, and they're using energy projectors in order to damage my ships. We'll see if my shields on my cruisers can hold out against them. That is a second enemy dreadnought that's coming into range. Now, these rail cannons, while they are very good at shooting targets at long range, they do lots of damage. Their accuracy degrades the closer targets get. But that's okay, because I'm also using polarized plasmids, which are the other weapons that you can see mounted on the hardpoints on my ships, if you take a look in the upper right-hand corner. Polarized plasmids as a weapon do moderate damage and have decent accuracy, but their real claim to fame is their ability to bypass armor. So it doesn't matter what nice kind of fancy materials the enemy is making their ships out of. If you're shooting them with polarized plasmids, you're going to hit something vulnerable. Now, as you can see here, I'm adjusting the formation of my ships because the Lear cruisers are now in the middle of my formation, making a mess of things. Also, the second enemy dreadnought is coming up quickly, using plasma torpedoes at long range to try and attack me. Now, because I've been playing the game for a while, I know this is an enemy command ship because of the way it appears. So once I get my formation set up again, I'm going to begin pounding the enemy dreadnought into nothingness, because if I can destroy the command ships, this will disorganize the Lear fleet. Players who've never played the game before should take note that if the enemy command vessels are destroyed, enemy reinforcements have to spawn in further away from the battle, and they cannot have as many ships on the field at one time. This makes command ships on both sides a primary target for enemy vessels. And as we see here, the Lear have heavy beam weapons that they are attempting to use against my cruisers. And I've just lost a command ship. That's okay, I've got backups. And they will be spawning in a little bit further away, and they're going to have to transverse the field of battle to get to my ships. I'm also on the defensive, which means I have defensive satellites around the planet that are lending me a little bit of a help. Not too much, because they're just satellites, but it's better than nothing. One of the things that's, if you're paying attention, you might see is that every once in a while when I hit a target with my rail cannons, you'll notice it'll move around. And experienced players know that ballistic weapons have always done this to cruisers and destroyers in Sword of the Stars. But rail cannons are strong enough to smack even dreadnoughts around to a limited extent. It's not the same that you would do to, say, a cruiser or a destroyer, but it's still enough to knock enemy dreadnoughts out of sort of their firing alignment. Now you've seen that I've destroyed the dreadnought, and there are no more Lear command ships. It's going to turn south for the Lear from this point forth in the combat. But you do see that because I lost my command ship, my reinforcements have appeared further away, and they're going to have to cruise over to where the fighting is actually taking place. Once they are in place, and once my command ship is met up with the rest of the fleet, we should be fine if we need any more reinforcements. If you've been listening to the audio, you're going to occasionally hear messages about ships losing protection and shields coming back up. That's to be expected. Just because my ships have shields doesn't mean they're invincible, as well upgraded as they are. But they are substantially tougher than enemy cruisers are, and are certainly cost-effective compared to the technology that the Lear have. And I'm slowly cleaning these guys up, and there's not a lot that the Lear are going to be able to do to salvage the fight. Now for the rest of the fight, I'm going to sit back and let you guys watch and listen to what's going on as I clean up the remaining Lear vessels. Then we're going to take a look at the overall effectiveness of my ships in the summary screen. Now, as we go to the summary screen, you can see that while I did lose a few ships in the combat, the Lear were completely wiped out. And not only did I kill more cruisers than I lost, but I also killed 2 very expensive dreadnoughts in this battle. New players will be interested to know that you can see a detailed breakdown of your performance during a battle, looking at what weapons did the most damage, what weapons did the least damage, and what kinds of ships were more effective in combat than others. This information is important because Sword of the Stars is a 4X game, and that means it is very important for you to always destroy enemy materials that are worth more than what you lose in combat. In terms of broad strategy and the random tech tree of the game, this screen is also important because it shows you what kinds of weapons the enemy has available, and may suggest a further course of action in terms of your overall strategy and perhaps what you want to prioritize in terms of research. And with that, this video commentary is done. Go ahead and go to Adrenaline Vault and check out my review for Sword of the Stars, Argos Naval Yard. See what I had to say about the rest of the game. I look forward to seeing you there.